And I went unto the angel, saying unto him that he should give me the little book. And he saith unto me, Take it, and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but in thy mouth it shall be sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey, and when I had eaten it, my belly was made bitter. Revelation chapter 10, verse 8 through 11. A mode of obtaining knowledge by swallowing the book was also employed by Ptah-nefer-ka in the Egyptian Tale of Setnau. He placed a new piece of papyrus before him. He copied each word which was on the roll. He had it dissolved in water. When he saw it dissolved, he drank it. He, then, knew all that it contained. Records of the Past, Volume 4, page 138. In the original rendering, the Book of Life was figuratively the food of soul. In the Hebrew version, the Book of Life is turned into an edible and eaten actually as a result of literalizing the ancient Gnosis. It was not a man named Jesus who was crucified in Egypt as the Lord. Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. These are the mysteries of Amenta, and the Egypt signified is the Egypt of that netherworld. It is the place of burial in the sandy realm of Sakari that will account for the streets that were choked with dead bodies. The Lord who was crucified in that Egypt was Ptah-sakari in the cult of Memphis, Osiris in the religion of Abydos, and Yu at Anu. The crucified belongs to a later terminology. The cross as Christian was preceded by the Tat, the cross of Ptah or of Osiris Tat, the god who was immanent in the wood or tree of the cross, and who gave up his life periodically in or on the cross as the sustainer of the universe. In the mysteries of Amenta, the Tat cross was annually overthrown and re-erected as the symbol of salvation, and it was there the Lord was crucified in Egypt. A brief synopsis will suffice to show that the Book of Revelation contains a version of the astronomical mythology which was derived from the Egyptian wisdom. The vanishing heaven is the celestial heptanomes that was formed in 7 astronomes on 7 hills or 7 islands, which sank and passed away like the lost Atlantis in the last great deluge of all. The most ancient genetrix is reproduced as the great harlot. She is the beast that sat upon the waters as a pregnant hippopotamus. Her 7 sons of the thigh are here as the 7 kings who were made drunken with the cup of her fornication or promiscuous sexual intercourse. These, as powers, are the 7 heads of the scarlet-colored beast or solar dragon upon which the woman rode. By a change of type, the scarlet-colored beast becomes the Scarlet Lady of later theology, the woman in red being substituted for the red water cow. The Great Mother is now denounced as the great whore living in adultery with her own children who originated in the 7 elemental powers, to pass through several phases of phenomena as the 7 with Anup, with Ptah, with Horus, or with Jesus, and with Ra. In Revelation, the Mother of Mystery is called Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and of abominations of the earth, who has the name of mystery written on her forehead, chapter 17, verse 5. But there was an earlier Babylon in Egypt, known to the secret wisdom, which is traditionally identified with the locality of Koptos, nominally the seat of Kep, the Kamite mother of the mysteries. The mother of mystery did not originate with the scarlet woman of Babylon, nor as the red rag of the Protestants, although the title of the great harlot was applied to her also, who was the mother of harlots, and to whom the maiden tributes were religiously furnished in that city. Hers is a figure of unknown antiquity in the astronomical mythology, which was constellated as the red hippopotamus that preceded the great bear. The red hippopotamus, Apt, had already become the Scarlet Lady in the ritual. Hence the Great Mother, as Sekhet Bast, who is higher than all the gods, and is the only one who stands above her father, is called the Lady of the Scarlet-Colored Garment, Ritual, chapter 164, Neville. The Kamite constellation of the birthplace may also serve to show cause why the great harlot should have been abused so badly in the Book of Revelation. The creatory of the Great Mother was depicted in the sign of the Meshkin, to indicate the place of bringing forth by the cow of heaven, whose thigh is the emblem of great magical power in the hieroglyphics. The Mother of Mystery also carries in her hand a golden cup full of abominations, even the unclean things of her fornication, chapter 17, verse 4, such as the mystery of fecundation by water, which was the primitive mystery of Kep. This was symbolized in Egypt by the water vase, and constellated in the sign of crater, the urn of the inundation. It has been shown that the gods of the Egyptian mythology originated in 7 elemental forces that were born of earth, the mother of life, and who were then continued in a variety of characters as the primordial 7 powers. These are reproduced as the progeny of the Mother Earth, where they are called the kings of the earth, over whom the firstborn of the dead is to become the ruler, chapter 1, verse 5, as Jesus in the book of Revelation, the same as Horus, or Eu, in the ritual, the God who giveth light by means of his own body, the ritual, chapter 83. The astronomical mythology was taught in mysteries by the mystery teachers of the heavens. One of the chief of these was the mystery of the 7 stars, the 7 that are described in the ritual as the 7 glorious ones, the 7 spirits of fire, the 7 great spirits, who are also termed the lords of eternity. As never-setting stars, the 7 were beyond the bounds of time. Hence, they became the witnesses for eternal continuity. Thus, 7 stars that never set were made a group of witnesses for the eternal in the eschatology. These, in the book of Revelation, are the 7 spirits of God, the 7 spirits of fire, the 7 eyes, the 7 golden lamps, or lampstands, as variously typified before the throne on the celestial summit. Certain deities in the ritual are called the Kabsu gods of light, or of the lamp. When the risen Osiris passes over heaven unto the west, it is said the Kabsu gods of the lamp rise up to greet him with their acclamations. Acclamation cometh from the Mount of Glory, and greeting from the lines of measurement. Ritual, chapter 130 and 133. This is when the light arises in Ker Abba, and the child, he of the strong cord, is reborn upon the Mount of Resurrection, chapter 136a. The number is not directly given in the Book of the Dead, but the gods of the lamp are obviously reproduced in Revelation as the spirits of the golden lampstands, whether as the group of 7 or as the 2 witnesses, which are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands standing before the Lord of the earth. Revelation chapter 11, verse 4. The word Kabsu is the name for a lamp, but in the present instance, the determinative shows that a heavenly body is meant. Also, if a plausible correction made by Renouf be allowed, there were Kabsu trees upon the Mount of Glory, as well as deities of the lamp. Kabsu is the well-known name of a sacred tree. Renouf, The Ritual, chapter 133, note 4. This may be compared with the 2 olive trees in Revelation, which were also 2 lampstands, as the 2 witnesses whom we shall identify with Anup, the stellar god upon his mountain, and Tat-On as the lunar lamp of Ra. Moreover, the word Kabsu signifies the soul or spirit as well as the star. Hence it is probable that the 7 stars called spirits, the spirits of God, and spirits of fire, were represented by the 7 Kabsu stars, or lamps, which were held in the hand of the young solar god as head of the 7, whether as Jesus or as Horus. No matter how these things were shown, or are said to have been shown, to John in Patmos, what we are concerned to know is their fundamental significance, and to identify them with the lesser or greater mysteries, which are the mysteries of Tat-On in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The writer John, who follows afar off in the wake of Tat-On, makes an attempt at showing some of the mysteries in his Book of Revelation. Amongst the more prominent are 1. The mystery of the 7 stars, 2. The mystery of the woman and the beast with 7 heads, 3. The mystery of the 2 witnesses and the 4 living creatures, 4. The mystery of the war in heaven, 5. The mystery of God, chapter 10, verse 7, 6. The mystery of renewal in the ancient heavens when every isle and mountain vanished and the heptanymus passed away. In the mysteries of Amenta, there is a resurrection of the body-soul, or manes, and a transformation into spirit. This was on the day upon which the god in spirit, Ra, calls from heaven to the mummy Osiris in Amenta. This summons to the transformation of the mummy into spirit, "Come thou hither," or "Come thou to me." In Pistis Sophia, it is "Come thou to us," that was uttered in the mystery of Tatu, is repeated and applied to John in Revelation as the mode of resurrection into the spirit. John says, "I saw and beheld a door opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard, a voice as of a trumpet speaking with me, one saying, 'Come up hither, and I will show thee the things that must come to pass hereafter.'" Obviously, this was the transformation into spirit that was represented in the mysteries. Hence the saying of John, "Straightway I was in the Spirit," Revelation chapter 4, verse 1, as was the Osiris at the call of Re, Ritual chapter 17. This cry of "Come" is repeated by each of the 4 living creatures, who are the same in the mount that the divine powers, Amsta, Hapi, Tuamutef, and Kabesenuf, were in the resurrection from Amenta, Ritual chapter 17. John says, "There came one of 7 angels that had the 7 bowls, and spake with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the judgment of the great harlot that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication." Revelation chapter 17. The kings of the earth were the 7 spirits of earth, who were at once the children and the consorts of the mother, in accordance with the primitive polyandry. "I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carried her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and is about to come up out of the abyss and to go into perdition." That is following the final judgment. It is explained that the woman whom thou sawest is the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. This was the kingdom of the 7, Ritual chapter 17, who ruled with the Great Mother in the celestial heptanymus. Some light may be shed on the mystery of the 24 elders seated on their 24 thrones by the Egypto-gnostic gospel, Pistis Sophia. In this cryptic work, the mysteries are said to be 24 in number. The mystery of God the Father is the first, the mystery of God the Son is last. These 2 are the first and the last in Revelation, the closer and opener of Amenta in the ritual. And all the 24 are included in the one great, unique, ineffable mystery of the Father, manifested by the Son as the dove or the calf or the lamb upon the Mount of Sunrise in the mythos and on the stellar Mount of Glory in the eschatology. In Revelation, the heaven in 7 divisions comes to an end when the 7 thunders have uttered their voices and the 7th angel has sounded the trumpet of doom. Then was finished the mystery of God, according to the good tidings which he declared to his servants, the prophets. Revelation chapter 10, verse 7, which shows the interpretation of the Kamite astronomical mythology by means of biblical prophecy concerning the coming Messiah. The heaven that was removed as a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, Revelation chapter 6, verse 14, is also imaged as a book which had been closed and sealed with 7 seals. This was the book of Doomsday, the record possibly kept for 26,000 years. The book is seen in the right hand of him that sits upon the throne, a book written within, and on the back close sealed with 7 seals. Revelation chapter 5, verse 1. We may not have all the necessary details for perfecting the parallel and proving the prototype to have been Egyptian, but we observe that in the end of the world or the subsidence of a country, described in the Magic Papyrus, Records of the Past, Volume 10, 151 and 152, as an overwhelming deluge, there is mention made of the 7 great dungeons that were sealed at the time with an eternal seal. It is also evident that these 7 dungeons were sealed singly one after the other, as it is said of the evil beings who are at the time submerged. What is immersed, do not let it pass out. Seal the mouths, choke up the mouths, as the shrine is sealed up for centuries. There is an echo of this in Revelation X. And when the 7 thunders uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying, seal up the things which the seven thunders uttered, and write them not. The record is to be sealed not only for centuries, but with the seal of eternal silence, or, as it is imaged, with the sevenfold seal. 7 times over in the great year the typical catastrophe occurred. The station of the pole was changed. The island was submerged. The mountain was dislimbed. Then was the day of judgment, when one of the 7 dungeons of eternal doom was sealed, and this was repeated until there were 7 altogether. It is in this papyrus that the ark or shrine of 7 cubits is superseded by the ark of 8 cubits, and the heptanymus of Sut is to make way for the octenary of Tat. In Revelation, the heptanymus of 7 astronomies is symboled by the book of judgment sealed with 7 seals. 7 seals are broken for the opening of the book. 7 angels sound upon 7 trumpets. 7 thunders utter their voices. 7 plagues are loosed by the 7 angels from the 7 bowls of the wrath of God. 7 kings are overthrown, and 7 mountains pass away. At this the final judgment of the great harlot and her 7 children of the thigh. Her meskin, or other unclean things of her fornication, that were set in heaven as primitive uranographic signs by those whose learning came to be unintelligibly interpreted and unintelligently abused by the ignorant fanatics of a later religious cult. At the end of each 3,700 years in the cycle of precession, the pole star changed, or, as represented, a star fell from heaven. Thus, when the second angel sounded, a mountain, one of the 7, sank down flaming to be quenched in the celestial sea. This was one of the 7 mountains upon which the ancient harlot sat. At the same time, a great star fell from heaven, which was one of the 7 pole stars. When the 5th angel sounded, another pole star fell. The fall of the total 7 has not been followed out one by one in stars, but the fall or wreck of the heptanymus piecemeal has been otherwise described. Enoch saw it as 7 blazing mountains overthrown. 7 types of the over-toppling mount or station of the pole may be assigned approximately. 1. To the mount of the hippopotamus, or northern crown. 2. To the mount of the dragon. 3. The mount of the ape. 4. The mount of the jackal, or dog. 5. The mount of the bird, Cygnus. 6. The mount of the tortoise, or Lyra. And 7. The mountain of mankind. To revert for a moment to the beginning of the book, the drama opens in Revelation the same as in the Book of the Dead, with the resurrection and the glory of the coming Son. Behold, he cometh with the clouds, and every eye shall see him. It is the risen Lord of resurrection who says, I was dead, and behold, I am alive for evermore, and I have the keys of death and of Hades. I 18. This is Horus of the resurrection risen from Amenta in his triumph over death and hell, or Sut and Akar. He proclaims himself to be the all-one, Har Sam Tawi Neb Uwa. Jesus, like Horus, is the faithful witness for the Father, the firstborn of the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth, who were the 7 elemental powers that were born of the ancient mother, and afterwards elevated in another character to the sphere, as spirits in glory, and lastly, as the 7 lords of eternity. Risen Horus comes as the anointed only begotten Son of God. His revelation is to make known the Father which is in heaven as the God in spirit. We learn from Irenaeus that the Egypto-gnostic Christ, or Horus, came to teach the 7 powers who preceded him, and who had no knowledge of the Father, and to create in them the desire to investigate the divine nature and to make that nature known. This was the revelation through the Christ, who is the faithful witness, the firstborn of the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth, who taught it as a mystery of revelation. The secret of the mysteries was with On. The mysteries of Amenta in the ritual are chiefly eschatological, but some of them are plainly astronomical. In one of the texts it is said of Tat An, And now behold Tat in the secret of his mysteries. He is the maker of endless reckonings. The Ritual, chapter 130. As Egyptian, the day of judgment was the day of reckoning, and the books were kept by Tat An, who was called the reckoner of all things in earth and heaven. An item in procession is likewise recognizable in Revelation in the statement concerning the 7 rulers of the heptanymus. They are 7 kings. The 5 are fallen. 1 is, the other is not yet come. Revelation 17, verse 10. There is a date in the statement as it stands. The time indicated is that of the 6th pole star, which as here reckoned out was the pole star Vega in the constellation of the Lyre or Tortoise some 14,000 years ago. The Mount of Glory has been well preserved in the Revelation of John. It is described as a throne set in heaven with one sitting on the throne, and round about the throne were 24 thrones, and upon the thrones were 24 elders sitting arrayed in white garments. On their heads were crowns of gold. Revelation chapter 4, verse 4. And in the midst of the elders was the Lamb standing on the Mount Zion, which shows the identity of the throne and mount, and astronomically with the zodiacal sign of Aries. The mount in Revelation has been turned into the throne of the Father and the Son, but it is the same throne as that of Osiris, from beneath which the water of life wells up, with the 4 genii standing before the shrine. These become the 4 living creatures full of eyes around the throne, in the 4 corners of the mount. The probability is that the 24 elders had been objectified in the astronomy by 24 stars, which represented 24 divine judges who appear in the Babylonian calendar. These were 24 zodiacal stars, 12 to the north and 12 to the south. Diodorus, Book 2, Chapter 30. Sayce, Hibbert Lectures, page 72. As characters in the Egyptian wisdom, the earliest pre-solar powers were called the Old Ones or the Elders. As Egyptian, they are traceable to the 2 different groups of the 12 described in Pistis Sophia as the subject of 24 mysteries. These were the 12 who had their thrones as rulers, or eons, in the zodiac, and the 12 as spirits with Heru Kuti, Lord of Spirits, in the harvest field or heaven of eternity. The mount is indeed the place of congregation, not only for the spirits of the just made perfect, but also as the final gathering place for all the principal personages in the pantheon of the Kamite mythography. The old Great Mother and her 7 sons are there, the 7 great spirits or the glorious ones, the Kus with Horus Kuti, the 4 who kept the quarters as Egyptian gods or powers ages before they were christened angels, the 12 as rulers in the zodiac, the dragon, the woman with child, and others which are identifiably Egyptian, are all included in the astronomical imagery of the celestial mount. The 7 halls, arets or watchtowers assigned to the 7 spirits in the great house of Osiris, are utilized as the 7 churches which are assigned to the 7 angels in the book of Revelation. The seat of justice in the solar mythos was shifted to the point of equinox, and the balance was erected on the later Mount of Glory in the zodiac. This is the mountain of Amenta in the eschatology. It is described in the Ritual, chapter 149, as the exceeding high mountain of the nether world, the top of which touches the sky. Whether stellar of solar, this was the mount as judgment seat. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat upon it. And I saw the dead were judged out of the things which were written in the books, every man according to their works. Revelation 20, verse 11. In the Ritual it is said, the gods fashion anew the heart of a person, in spirit, according to what he hath done, that is, according to his works, in the body. Chapter 27 and 75. There is also a call to judgment in the Ritual, chapter 136b. Come, come. For the Father is uttering the judgment of Maat, says the speaker, who is Horus in the Osirian myth and Eu in the cult of Atumura. There is a description of the books being brought into the judgment hall upon the mount. O, thou who callest out at thine evening hours, grant that I may come and bring to him, the Father, the 2 jaws of Rusta, and that I may bring to him the books which are in the celestial Anu, and add up for him his hosts. Bringing away the jaws of Rusta is equivalent to carrying off the broken bonds of death and of Hades by him who is dead and is alive forevermore. Revelation 1:18. He who has conquered death and hell and carried away the gates of the prison house has also vanquished the evil dragon. He exclaims, I have repulsed Apap and healed the wounds he made. There was a great Egyptian library at On or Anu, the Greek Heliopolis. Hence in heaven itself, or the celestial city, the books of Tot were kept in Anu. Thus, speaking of the judgment, the Osiris says, Grant that I may bring to him, the judge, the books which are in Anu, and add up for him his heavenly hosts. The deceased says, I am come to thee, O my Lord, that I may look upon thy glory. I know thee, and I know the names of the 42 gods who make their appearance with thee in the hall of righteousness. But in the papyri of Ani and of Unnefer, the judges or assessors in the Mot appear as 12 in number sitting on 12 thrones instead of the 42, or the 24, which offers a prototype for 12 judges on the 12 thrones in Revelation and in the canonical Gospels. In one of the pictures to the ritual Horus stands upon the mount in presence of his father as the calf, which was a type of sacrifice in the Assyrian religion earlier than the lamb. I come, says the speaker, so that I may see the process of Mot and the lion forms. These are the Keraphu equal sign cherubs, chapter 136b, stationed at the seat of judgment on the mount. Let the fathers and their apes, the spirits of fire, make way for me, that I may enter the mount of glory and pass through where the great ones are. Here is the cycle of the gods. I poise for him, the judge, the balance, which is Mot. Come, come, for the Father is uttering the judgment of Mot. This was the final judgment on the mount, where the spirits of the just were passed as perfected. The invitation to come, come, and hear the judgments delivered on the day of doom is equivalent to the words in Revelation, Come up hither, and I will show thee the things which must come to pass hereafter. Straightway I was in the Spirit, and behold, there was a throne set in heaven, and one sitting upon the throne. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within and on the back, close sealed with 7 seals. Revelation chapter 4 verse 1 and chapter 5 verse 1. It is said in the ritual, chapter 133, Ra maketh his appearance at the mount of glory with the cycle of his gods about him. The strong one issueth from his hidden dwelling.